This is Module 6.1, Balloon Inflation Procedures. Introduction. This module describes balloon inflation procedures and focuses on the essential steps required. Balloon inflation is normally tied in with daily checks on the electrolyzer, but on Sable Island, new technicians usually spend their first day or two just using the storage tank for balloon inflations and leaving the associated electrolyzer checks for the senior technician. Once technicians are trained to perform the essential flight operations, they then take the electrolyzer training and become responsible for their own scheduled electrolyzer checks. When you're inflating balloons, you'll normally start working from a printed checklist, which repeats everything in this module with additional details. So nothing needs to be memorized. Just watch and get a feel for the procedures. It's important to avoid filling the balloon too early or too late. Both hydrogen and helium will slowly diffuse through the surface of the balloon, and the balloon will slowly deflate. Helium diffuses much more rapidly than hydrogen. As well, the balloon film is under strain when the inflated balloon is tied to the table, so the balloon will deteriorate while waiting for release. We want to keep the time between inflation and release to less than 45 minutes. But if we fill the balloon later, closer to release time, any problems with the balloon or gas supply can mean you have to rush to get finished in order to release on time. Rushing leads to mistakes, and mistakes are not a good thing when you're working with hydrogen. To inflate the balloon, we attach it to a filler stand in the balloon shed and then add lifting gas, either helium or hydrogen. The balloon is attached to the gas nozzle with a hose clamp, and a weight tray hangs from the nozzle. When the balloon lift exceeds the weight of the tray, the nozzle lifts off the stand. We have to use enough lift to pick up the balloon and radiosonde and have enough lift left over to ascend through the air at a target ascent rate of 300 meters per minute. The normal amount of lift is usually 1100 or 1200 grams, but if it's raining or snowing, we might use 1400 or 1500 grams or even more. The image shows the weight tray has 1200 grams. 1,000 grams for the tray itself, and an additional 200 gram weight on top of the tray. The inflation procedure starts with getting a balloon from storage. The staff safety alarm will automatically start its countdown timer at the scheduled balloon inflation time. It's pre-programmed for balloon inflation to take place between minute 30 and 50, and will sound an alarm if the technician hasn't returned to the office by minute 60. Before leaving the operations building, examine the control alarm panel and the gas alarm panel to know what state the system is in. Is the green rectifier light on? Is the fire alarm indicator off? Are the electrolyzer status indicators all illuminated? If any of the indicators of the control panel are not normal, contact the OIC immediately. Once you're satisfied that the control panel is okay, look at the gas alarm panel. Is the gas detector green pilot light on? Is the needle showing 0% LEL? If not, advise the OIC immediately. Are the orange, blue, and red lights off? If any of these indicators are not normal, you must contact the OIC before proceeding. Now you take your balloon and go to the balloon shed. As you approach, you want to pay attention to conditions. Are the fire or gas lights on? Is there any debris or bird droppings on the stairs or ramps that might leave a slip hazard? Is there any debris on or around the ramps that might pose a trip hazard and affect the balloon release? Is the hydrogen wall vent free of obstructions? For example, it's not plugged with snow or ice. When entering the balloon shed, it's always best to enter through the front door. From that location, you can see the electrolyzer clearly and can ensure everything is okay before you enter the room. The metal front door is grounded, so as soon as you open the door, you should automatically become grounded as well. Before entering the room, look around. Confirm there are no big puddles on the base of the electrolyzer as if the contents of a cell had leaked out. Confirm there's no fluids on the floor that might pose a slip hazard. And confirm there's no smoke or strange odors. Enter the inflation room. Using the brush provided, clean any dust or dirt off the inflation table and check the table's surface for nicks and cuts that might scratch the balloon film. Some technicians operate with the filling stand upright, while others lay the filling stand on its side to start the inflation. Ensure the weight tray has the proper amount of weight for the weather conditions. The normal weight is 1100 to 1200 grams, but in rain or snow you should increase that to at least 1400 to 1500 grams. Attach the balloon neck to the nozzle with the hose clamp. Gently dump the balloon out of the plastic bag and onto the table. Turn the plastic bag inside out and use as a glove to completely unroll the balloon and ensure there are no twists. If using hydrogen gas and the wind direction allows, open one of the overhead doors a couple of feet to provide some additional ventilation. Prepare the operational source of lifting gas. If you're using the electrolyzer storage tank, open the electrolyzer balloon filling valve, noting the pressure on the storage tank. If you're using compressed gas cylinders, depending on the type of gas you're using, install the helium or hydrogen regulator using standard procedures. Ensure the regulator valve is fully counterclockwise and leak test the connection before use. Slowly start the gas flow into the balloon. If you're using the storage tank, the inflation control valve has a mark on the label plate showing the valve setting to fill the balloon in the minimum 10 minutes required by safety policy. If the electrolyzer is in operation at the time, it will normally turn off as the pressure in the lines decreases. Using gas cylinders, you would just turn the regulator valve slowly clockwise, feeling the increasing resistance until gas begins to flow. Control the gas flow and watch as the balloon starts to fill with gas. In a couple of minutes, the balloon will be off the table. If you need to stand the filler stand up, stop the flow of gas, stand the filler stand up, and attach the weight tray. Stand at the valve, continue the flow of gas, and control the inflation throughout. In 3 or 4 minutes, the balloon surface will be taut. Stop the gas flow. Visually inspect the balloon for pinholes and listen for gas leaks. If there are no leaks, resume the flow of gas. In another 3 or 4 minutes, the balloon will have enough gas to raise the nozzle assembly. Stop the gas flow. The balloon is now full. Tie off the balloon. Take 1.5 meters of string and double it up and tie an overhand knot in the closed end to form a small loop. Wrap the tails around the balloon neck and pass them back and forth, adding a series of overhand knots. When the balloon is tied securely, remove it from the stand and move it to one of the hooks on the table. The sonde unwinder is inserted into the loop formed by the folded over rubber neck. When you bring the sonde out at release time, fold the neck up into the unwinder and tie it with the tails of the string. Now you can close the operational gas source. For the electrolyzer storage tank, just close the balloon filling valve. Again, note the pressure on the storage tank. If you're using compressed gas cylinders, close the valve on top of the cylinder. Depressurize the regulator and then ensure the regulator valve is back to fully counterclockwise. Now make log entries, the pressure before inflation, the pressure after inflation, and your initials. Now return to the operations building and check into the staff alarm. This concludes balloon inflation procedures.